In modern Formula One, success usually brings excitement, celebration, and a sense of fulfillment. Winning races, fighting for championships, and driving the fastest machines in motorsport is supposed to represent the pinnacle of a driver's career. Yet recently, Max Verstappen said something that surprised many fans across the Formula One world. Despite being one of the most dominant drivers on the grid, Verstappen admitted that driving modern F1 cars sometimes leaves him feeling empty. That's a strong word for someone competing at the highest level of the sport. But when you listen carefully to what he said and look at the direction Formula One has taken in recent years, his frustration begins to make more sense. At first, Verstappen's comments sounded almost contradictory. Here is a driver who has won races, broken records, and demonstrated extraordinary control over some of the most complex machines ever built. From the outside, it appears that he is living the dream of every aspiring racing driver. So, why would someone in that position describe the experience as joyless or emotionally flat? The answer lies not in Verstappen's performance, but in how Formula One cars must now be driven. To understand the issue, we need to look at how the sport has evolved over the past decade. Modern F1 cars are no longer powered by simple internal combustion engines. Instead, they use extremely sophisticated hybrid power units that combine a traditional engine with complex electrical energy systems. These systems capture energy during braking and store it in batteries, which can later be deployed to boost performance. This technology is remarkable from an engineering perspective. It represents one of the most advanced energy systems in motorsport history. But it also changes the role of the driver in subtle ways. In earlier eras of Formula One, drivers often described the experience as pure racing. Their focus was on braking later than their rivals, carrying more speed through corners, and accelerating earlier on exit. The car responded directly to their inputs, and the fastest driver on the limit usually gained the advantage. Today, the situation is more complicated. Drivers must constantly think about energy management. Instead of simply pushing as hard as possible on every lap, they must carefully balance how much electrical energy they deploy and how much they harvest. If they use too much energy early in the lap, they may not have enough available later on the straight. If they harvest too aggressively, they may lose speed during critical moments. This balancing act transforms the way drivers approach racing. Imagine approaching a corner knowing that you cannot simply accelerate as hard as possible on the exit because the car's energy system must recharge. Or imagine chasing another car but being unable to attack because you must preserve electrical deployment for the next lap. These are the kinds of situations that modern drivers face constantly. Verstappen has hinted that this aspect of modern Formula One removes some of the spontaneity that drivers once enjoyed. Instead of driving purely by instinct and feel, drivers must also think about systems, energy flows, and complex strategies. Another factor contributing to this feeling is the sheer number of controls on a modern F1 steering wheel. Drivers now manage dozens of settings during a race. They adjust brake balance, energy deployment modes, differential settings, and many other parameters. While engineers guide them through these changes over the radio, the driver still plays a crucial role in executing them. This means that racing is no longer just about pushing the car to its limits physically. It also requires constant technical awareness. Drivers must think like engineers while driving at speeds approaching 300 kilometers per hour. Some drivers enjoy this challenge because it reflects the technical sophistication of the sport. Others feel that it moves the focus away from pure racing skill. Verstappen's comments suggest that he sometimes falls into the second category. And this brings us to another important development in Formula One, the direction of future regulations. The sport is preparing for significant rule changes in the coming years, with even greater emphasis on electrical power and energy management. Future power units are expected to rely more heavily on hybrid systems, meaning the electrical component will become even more important. From a sustainability perspective, this direction makes sense. Formula One aims to remain technologically relevant in a world that increasingly values energy efficiency and environmental responsibility. Hybrid power units demonstrate how high-performance engineering can coexist with reduced fuel consumption. However, These changes may also increase the complexity of driving the cars. If drivers already spend large portions of each lap managing energy systems, future regulations could amplify that challenge. The driver may need to think even more carefully about when to deploy energy and when to conserve it. For someone like Verstappen, whose driving style thrives on instinct and precision at the limit, that shift can feel frustrating. He has often spoken about enjoying the pure sensation of driving fast, the feeling of pushing the car through corners and reacting to the limits of grip. When that experience becomes layered with multiple strategic considerations, the emotional connection to the act of driving can change. But Verstappen's comments also open up a broader discussion about what fans want from Formula One. Some people believe that the sport should remain at the cutting edge of technology. They argue that hybrid power units, energy recovery systems, and complex engineering solutions are part of what makes Formula One unique. In this view, drivers adapting to these technologies is simply another aspect of elite competition. Others believe that racing should prioritize simplicity and driver skill. They want to see drivers pushing the car as hard as possible without worrying about battery deployment or energy harvesting. This debate has existed in various forms throughout Formula One history. In the past, fans argued about traction control, active suspension, and other technologies that influenced how drivers interacted with their cars. Each generation of rules brings new questions about the balance between engineering innovation and pure racing. Verstappen's comments highlight that the debate is far from settled. Another interesting aspect of his perspective is how it reflects the mindset of modern drivers. Today's drivers are not only athletes but also ambassadors for the sport. Their opinions often influence how fans perceive the direction of Formula One. When a driver as successful as Verstappen expresses frustration, people pay attention. But it is also important to recognize that drivers frequently adapt to changing circumstances. Throughout Formula One history, competitors have learned to master new technologies and regulations. What initially feels uncomfortable can eventually become second nature. For example, drivers once struggled to adapt to hybrid power units when they were first introduced. Over time, teams and drivers developed strategies to manage energy systems more efficiently. The same could happen with future regulations. Verstappen may currently feel that the balance between racing and energy management has shifted too far toward complexity. But as teams refine their systems and drivers gain more experience with them, the sport may find a new equilibrium. At the same time, the conversation sparked by his comments is valuable. Formula One thrives when fans feel connected to the excitement of racing. Drivers pushing cars to their limits, battling wheel to wheel, and demonstrating extraordinary skill are central to the appeal of the sport. If the regulations ever reduce that sense of competition, it's natural for drivers and fans to question whether adjustments are needed. And that's exactly why Verstappen's words resonated with so many people. They remind us that even in a sport defined by advanced technology, the emotional core of racing still matters. Drivers want to feel the thrill of competition. Fans want to see battles that push human skill to the edge. As Formula One continues evolving, finding the right balance between innovation and excitement will remain one of its greatest challenges. Now I'm curious to hear what you think. Do you agree with Max Verstappen that modern Formula One has become too focused on energy management and technical complexity? Or do you believe that these innovations are an essential part of what makes the sport so unique? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, because this debate is shaping the future direction of Formula One.